Okay, dude. Kyle, I'm thrilled to be talking with you about self storage, all of that good stuff, and you've got some exciting news about the self storage, leasing it out, all things like that. But first of all, how did you get started in self storage? Like, how did all of this come about?
Yeah, so I currently own a construction company and I saw how we're just doing a project, getting paid, going to find another project, getting paid. Where can I find this, revenue that keeps coming in or getting paid every month? Obviously, there's rentals, there's a bunch of other things. So I think just doing my research and came across self-storage and the simplicity of it with your metal buildings, just simple tenant leases, month-to-month leases, and basically providing a small service for people. Um, and I just loved that idea. So I started kind of going down the rabbit hole at that point.
Dude, I mean, and so the whole thing, like, how I got started in assets was I realized I was stuck in a trap. I would wake up before my kids were out of bed. I'd come home. It was time to put them to bed. So I never got to see my kids because I was working, working, working. And I was like, okay, I've got to do something different. Was that like the catalyst for you or something similar where like the light bulb went off and you're like, I can't do this construction thing forever?
Totally. Yeah, that and some health things that came up was like, what if I can't show up for a week? What's going to happen to construction? Well, in general, unless you're a massive construction company, things don't go on without the main guy. So just seeing that as a hold up, wanting to see something, yeah, recurring, and then yeah, getting time back, buying time back with assets, like you're saying, buying my time back so I can get more time with the kids, more flexibility. We want to take the kids places in the world, so getting more flexibility to do that is what kind of spurred me on to do this.
Dude, I love it, man. I love it. One of my favorite songs to listen to is Harry Chapin, Cats in the Cradle, which is obviously the story about the dad that doesn't spend time with the kids and then it grows up and he's like, it blows up in his face. He's like, dang it, I missed my shot. So I love when parents are like, you know what, I know what's really important in life. Let's go find a way to do it. So you figured out like, okay, construction thing's not going to work out forever. If I get sick, if something goes wrong, we're going to lose our income. So how did you fall into like how did you narrow down from everything asset wise into self storage?
And I should bring out the T-shirt. I have a T-shirt that has hashtag no toilets on the back. So no toilets. No, there's no facilities other than a roll-up door and a metal box that you're providing to the customer. So there's people that self-manage multiple facilities because there's just not that much needed. Now, of course, you can get outside management for them. You can do all that, but just the starting. Already have a busy life, busy schedule. I'm not looking for early morning wake up calls when the toilets aren't working. So
Yep.
hashtag no toilets.
So the big thing was like, if you're going to do property management, you don't want to have to manage residential real estate because it's a big giant headache.
Yeah. Yeah,
Got
and
it.
there's lots that goes on that. Obviously, with property management, you can alleviate a lot of that. And I kind of founded it to be my side. I felt like, well, if there's anything goes wrong at the storage facility, I'd already kind of know how to fix it, or at least find somebody that did. With my construction background, even getting into the building and developing of it, I'd kind of have a leg up there in just understanding those components. So that, and then loving the cash flow aspect. So finding, for me, it was finding something small that I could grow a lot percentage wise. So of course you can buy a $1 million facility and have a little bit of upside, but for me it was finding something small that have a huge amount of upside just because I can put some time, effort, energy, and fix things up, get more people in it, and it has a huge upside then.
Yeah, yeah. And when you're talking price range, how do you define like a small price range?
So I've seen them down to 100,000, just a few units on a lot, up to I'd say that range to about the $500,000 range is where you're not going to be competing against any corporations. You're not going to be competing against any funds. The other people that are buying them are just like you and I. They're wanting to do something for themselves, or maybe they pulled somebody else's money. Hey, let's go in this, all three friends, and we'll do this thing. or I mean, that range, and then you're not competing with the corporations, and you're not like trying to, I guess, build a fund where you're uh, then responsible for other people's money.
Yeah, yeah, which is something I've never really wanted to play with. I know you can make a lot of money building a fund and raising capital and really expand quickly, but that's not the game I ever wanted to play. But dude, so how much? So you found? How did you come across? So you narrowed down. Okay, I want to get assets. No toilets. I'm out on toilets. If it's got a toilet, I'm out. Wait. Did you ever think about porta potties, or is that toilet too? I'm out.
I'm out.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Look, I'll do dumpster rentals. I don't want to do porta john rentals.
Yes, yeah. Similar trash, but I want to do this specific type of trash.
Yeah.
When you got it into and you kind of narrowed down to self storage, how did you find the location that you found now, like the one that you bought?
Yeah, yeah. So looking around, I really wanted to stay where it was doable for me to get to it. So within a couple hours of driving, I had some guys early on tell me, "Oh, you can just buy anywhere in the country and manage it remotely." I'm like, "Yeah, that's also a toss up of, if I'm going to fly out there and destroy a whole month's profit just to do that on a small facility." So
Yep.
yeah, I just had, wanted to be my own person to see it, and maybe not do everything to the facility as far as work is concerned and fixing it up, but be able to get there if I need to, especially learning it. So that was been super helpful. So I kind of set a radius of about 2 hours, found one about 2 hours away, and then again I knew it was going to have to be rural to be on the smaller side of things and affordable.
Yeah, yeah. And I remember during that time when we were looking all over the place, there's a lot of stuff listed online, but you also found a lot that were not listed online. What was your
Yeah.
experience in that?
Yeah, so that was interesting. We call that driving for storage. You can find facilities that are not, they don't have a Google site, they don't have a website. They're just out there. They've been, locally run for a long time, and more or less they rely on that local population, the people that drive by, to be their customers. So there's no online presence. So those you have to drive to find them. You have to like literally search around. Let's say if you've got a small town that's got three storage facilities, hey, is there a fourth one here that's not listed? And then finding the owner and calling them. It's a whole discovery process. So, but there's gold in that. There's like
Yeah.
there, those are gems to be found, if that makes sense. Like that's where, especially if you find somebody who's just done with it. Maybe they've got some maintenance that hasn't been done, and they're getting older. They've been running it themselves. That you can, find some great deals that way.
Yeah. I mean, what is your experience now that you own one, kind of thinking about those ones that you drove by and you saw all the ways they're doing it wrong? How did that help you go, okay, when I get one of these things, I know how to run it right because of everything they're doing wrong? Like, what lessons did you learn there?
Right, and I don't know if I'm doing everything perfect, but
Yeah.
I drove by this one, and I even called the owner, got a hold of the owner on this one. His sign was on the ground, so no sign. The gate was wide open, so the gate didn't work anymore, open and closed, and otherwise it was in decent condition. But the security wasn't there, and there was. How would any customers know you're open if your sign's on the ground? So it looked like a closed facility, but he was still running it.
Wow. And is that great opportunity for a self-storage buyer like yourself?
Yeah, well, he's probably not charging market rents. He's probably charging 5 years ago's rents and just has left them, hey, I'm full. He's making his money. Um,
Yep.
but then there's an opportunity for you to offer a decent amount. You can't offer top dollar for something like that because it needs work. So then you get it at a deal for today's rates, fix it up, make the improvements, even if they're small, getting an online management system, payment system, and contracts where people aren't just mailing in checks or handing you cash. Getting the gate to work, some security system, and good signage and online presence. It's a whole new facility at that point.
And then you can raise rates at that point once you get all that done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, he's. I'm just surprised. Like it's surprising to see one in that condition, but they're out there. So especially with people that are what would you call them, tired landlords. It's
Yeah.
just or maybe he has 10 other things going on. That's the one he's ignoring because it's still making money.
Wow. Holy cow, man. Yeah, there's and so now that kind of like talking about all the ways it's done wrong leads us a little bit into how you found yours and once you started like asking, "Hey, can I see your books? Can you show me your P&L statement? Can I see your income statement?" What what did you find out during the discovery process of maybe all the ones that you looked at and then eventually the one that you settled on buying?
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest things is not having books. There's so many of them. They'll give you a spreadsheet that just says, "Hey, we're collecting this much rent per." And I've heard horror stories of people buying that facility based on that, and then you find out half those people actually aren't paying that monthly rent because they didn't have books. And so, in our case, there was next to no records. There was some evidence of people paying some rent, but really nothing to go to the bank with. So we had to pull cash together. So I got a partner on this, and we bought it in cash because the bank wouldn't lend on it because there was so little income.
Yeah, and when you so like in this one, they sent you their documentation for numbers. And that when you buy a business, when you buy self-storage, it can be a variety of different things. I've seen things as far as like, hey, here's our notebook that my
Yeah.
wife accountant takes notes on, and we did this for 10 years, and you're like, it's a notebook, or sometimes you get a weird spreadsheet and it's not really that put together. Whenever you ask for like verifiable numbers and they go, yeah, we don't have that. Verifiable meaning like, can your accountant send me your P&L statement or can I see a copy of your bank statement? When you asked that kind of information, how did people respond? And then based on their response, how did that make you feel?
Yeah, so in this case, there wasn't anything. We kind of found that out through the real estate agent. It was on the market, and it was. At first, it made me think we can't buy this. Honestly, there's nothing to verify. But then looking further into it, it's like doing your own due diligence, doing your own, like looking at your own numbers. Okay, if we rent this building, and all this storage, what could be the rents here? And then using that to justify the price. In my case, that worked. And that was after looking at a lot of different units for
Yeah.
sale and seeing what price point they're selling for. There's probably a little more, probably be a little more technical about it, but I think on the small side, it's really what could be improved or built onto that's not being utilized now. So that was a huge upside for us. There's extra land, we can build more units. So there was no, I guess there was just so there was not really a chance for failure
Yeah.
of buying the asset and just not working because hey, I've got this thing to rent, this thing to rent, all these things to rent, and I can add more. So as long as there's a demand, I can see a demand, I can add on to this facility in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got a philosophy that I never want to go into business with a fearful mindset. Like I'm going to go into business and I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to be offensive, like on the offense. We're going to try to put some points on the board, and I'm never going to play out of fear. But I do want to have exit strategies. I do want to have backup plans and contingencies that if things do go wrong, we can pivot and then we can adjust on that. And in this asset, like specifically how the land was laid out, you were like looking at these different things, and it's not just storage. There were these other little bonus things. Can you kind of walk us through your mindset and like, okay, I can probably do this with that thing. I can do this with that building, and how you knew going into it, this I can make this work.
Yeah. So there was a lot of deferred maintenance. There, everything was pretty run down, but there was two other buildings on the property. One at the front, there was 1,800 square feet. The other one was ironically 1,800 square feet as well. And the fact that those were both there, it was like if we can rent just these two buildings, we don't have to rent any storage, and the numbers work. So essentially, what that means, looking at the future, is we can rent these two buildings and improve them, rent all the storage and improve it. We're making twice what we need to carry the property.
Wow. Holy cow.
Yeah.
And that's storage being completely empty, and there's additional land that you have not built any new storage on, and you would still cash flow profitably with those two buildings.
Correct. Yeah. So that's enough cash flow to carry the property. In our case, and we can use real numbers. So we purchased the property for 255,000, and between those two buildings, we're roughly bringing in 2250 between the two buildings.
Got it. And they're rented right now.
They're rented right now.
Dude, how good does that feel to say that?
It's great. Once we rented the second building, I was like, we're set. That was kind of our, I think in kind of the big commercial, they call it an anchor tenant. And so getting those two tenants in there, the one's a little bit longer term, the one seems maybe shorter term, but still knowing that I can rent the buildings for the amount we're renting them for, and then renting some new storage units out. We're probably around 3,000 a month total in total revenue right now, with the next push being filling all the rest of the storage units, getting that closer to 5,000 a month.
Wow. And so if you fill everything out, you're completely 100% occupied, is your total potential revenue 5 grand a month?
It's over 5 grand. I don't have that exact number in front of me, but it's something like 5,500 with everything rented out. But in general, in storage, you can't expect 100% occupancy. But let's say we'll be over 5 grand to be at like 80% occupancy.
Wow. Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
going,
Or again, when you go back to the like store rentals and you look at that 1% rule, if you look at what we purchased, it's going to be at the 2% rule.
yep.
And if we build more units on it, it'll still stay at this 2% rule because we're adding those rents after adding the units. So in that way, that's where the upside can't be beat. It cannot be beat by most things, but it does require a bunch of work. So
Yeah, yeah. It's been a long journey. I mean,
yeah,
there's some long weekends, a lot of,
yeah,
I've seen a lot of content filmed of you working, all that stuff, but really kind of reviewing the numbers. $255,000 was the transaction price, paid full cash. Now you've got two buildings rented out, making about $2,200 a month in revenue. Potential, like high potential income of just what you've got on there is between $5,000 and $5,500 a month in income. Then at that point, you could scale this thing up and you have no mortgage on this thing because you paid cash, right?
correct. Now we do have the potential to pull out now that we have revenue and income. We can refinance the property, and that can pay for those additions instead of putting more cash into the property. And also look at purchasing another facility that way. So we're looking at that refinance right now.
Dude, that's amazing. So you couldn't qualify for financing when you went to buy the asset because there's no income. So we buy it with cash, get some income flowing. How long has it been since you bought the property?
It's been roughly 6 months. So I don't have all my refinance numbers all together right now. But more or less, they're going to ask for books for the last 2 years. I'm going to say, well, we've got the last 6 months. What can you do with it?
Yep.
And here's what we're renting at currently. So it may not be a full loan, but at today's rates, I'm not sure I want a full loan. It might be, we might get 50% of the value of the property as they appraise it right now. So I'd still be happy with that.
Yeah. So, dude, that's incredible. So 6 months ago, lenders told you, hey, we can't lend on this because there's no income. You go, no problem. We're going to buy this sucker. We know what we can do. We're going to get some revenue, got some income coming in. Now we're going to go back to a bank, see what they can lend us. We're going to take the bank's money on a new loan with the income we have that'll still cover that mortgage, right? That new loan?
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And then we're going to take that equity, fix this place up, or excuse me, add more storage units, so drive even more revenue, and or take that money and go buy another unit. And are you starting to build a portfolio? Like, is that kind of the long-term vision?
That is the goal. Yeah, the goal is to start adding on other facilities. Hopefully we can find some in the same area and kind of make those all under one brand. But the goal is to have multiple, and that also kind of, brings in more income. The goal is to have just, I guess, more reoccurring income to cover a personal goal, a family goal of about $10,000 a month. coming into our family, and that means profit, not paying other investors, not paying the bank, profit. So, on this one, specifically, if we look at the 5,000 a month, I want all expenses plus the mortgage to only be about 50% of that cost. So 2,500, I want to spend on all my costs and my mortgage.
Wow. And I mean, with this facility, you can absolutely do that,
Yeah.
which is,
Yeah.
man, that's incredible. What, like, what would you tell Kyle, I would say like 7 months ago? Like you're in the thick of hunting, searching, maybe even questioning if you could really pull this off. What's the difference in mindset between those two versions of you?
Right. Yeah. No. Now there's, hey, let's go find another one. We got to do this again.
Yeah.
Then it was like maybe we can't do this at all. So I think that's the biggest difference.
Yeah. And did you like, would you recommend what you did to somebody just starting out in wanting to buy assets, wanting to have this? They've got the same goals that you do. Hey, I want to spend more time with my family. I'm working my 9 to 5. It takes everything I can just to get by. I want to break free. I want to buy assets. Would you recommend somebody getting started in self-storage that the way that you have?
I think so. So I think part of it was finding a partner with cash to help fund the purchase. And obviously, that's a very conservative way to get started. You don't have a mortgage to pay. So if you are making $300 a month or $1,000 a month on the property, it doesn't really matter for the first few months. You have to be willing to put in the work without seeing the results, though. You have to put in the work up front, but it's so much more work. Like I'm going to get paid as long as I hold on to this thing for all the work that I put in. Even if it's little things like mounting a security camera, I'm getting paid for that because I've improved the property, or getting little fixes done around the property. And we're hiring people to do some things. We're getting the whole storage facility painted. So I have a bright, fresh coat of paint on it. We're probably going to be putting a fence in, just add security. Those things I won't be doing, but I'm coordinating those to happen, and that value is still being added to the property.
Dude, and what's so amazing is you're getting paid every month. Like you're profitable every single month while this is going on. But there's going to be a day where you're going to realize all the other profit that's going on, which is the appreciation of the property. Like it's continually going up in value. And I would say even like side note to that is the appreciation of the property as a business.
Yes.
Like there's going to be a day when you do exit it or pass it on to the kids. Eventually, 100 years from now, there's going to be an exit. Somebody's going to make a profit. So you're making profit in 2 or 3 different ways on one asset. That's incredible.
Yeah, so the appreciation, I haven't exactly calculated it out. I want to, keep making improvements to it, but at some point it's worth way more than we paid for it. 2 to 3 to 4 times as much. I mean, it's there's no way around it. It's going to be worth a lot more than we paid for it. And then it's a matter of, is the income worth the payout? And do we go buy something bigger? What's the trade-off?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you bought the self-storage property for $255,000, were you buying it at its current income rates, or were you buying it a little bit higher priced based on what it could do?
Right. So the income didn't equate to the purchase price. I think the purchase price was more around, there is this piece of land and it can do something. And I think that's why the banks wouldn't lend on it, is because they can't see that. It's too far gone for a bank to lend on it. So even just thinking, okay, this thing could make $2,000 a month. We're going to buy it for 255. Would that be worth it? Probably not. But seeing the upside, okay, if we can get this to 2,500 a month total quickly, then go from there to see the upside.
Yeah, I remember there was a couple of different angles, in the risk mitigation category of buying assets. There were a couple of different ways that you were brainstorming. Like one angle was, if I just rent out these 2 buildings, not even counting the self-storage, which ironically is what you've done, then that's one, break glass in case of emergency. We might be able to do that. Another angle was, we had talked about, was like, well, maybe if I subdivide it, if things get really tight, I could subdivide it and maybe even sell off parcels. Like, you remember that conversation?
Yeah, we could totally do that. it's still on the table as an option right now if we subdivided the property because it is big enough so that those two other buildings are separate from the self storage. The self storage becomes its own property,
Yep.
and we could sell off those other two as needed. If we want to just focus on storage, then those would be gone.
Yeah. So how many different like exit strategies or parachutes did you think through before you ever actually bought the property?
Probably way too many. Probably way too many of them. But I think that's just me wanting. And it's funny because people will look at buying a property like this as super risky, but if you have knowledge of what could be done, that takes away a lot of the risk. So for me, it was just thinking through things like, obviously, even if we improved the rates a little bit and rented out all the self storage, that takes care of the property. If we rent these two other buildings out, that takes care of the property. What if we have to bulldoze one of these buildings and build storage there? That takes care of the property too. We just got to find some money to do that. And then we thought about an ice machine on the front of it. You know, there was all kinds of options that could have been done for this property.
Yeah.
Right now is the focus on improving the storage and improving the occupancy on the storage because the other two buildings are rented.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. And I love that mentality to return back the focus back to why you got started. Like to give you an example, I think a lot of business owners, I think a lot of asset owners, a lot of entrepreneurs get distracted by a bunch of different things. In my business, I just bought a tax practice and CPA firm, and it's like the distraction. The thing that we bought the practice for was tax planning to help business owners pull down their taxable income. The distraction is like, well, what if we had a bookkeeping arm and a payroll department? So that's an other streams of income. And now I'm getting distracted from the main focus of the business, which can quickly pull you in these other directions. You're like, wait. Let's return to the main focus. We'll make that really strong arm, strong financial, strong like as the brand. And then if we have these other things and they're needed, maybe we'll do it. Like you're saying, like maybe we do an ice machine or maybe we do these other things. But from your perspective, those were always more backup plans. Like if something goes crazy wrong, I know this can still be profitable, even if all these other 75 ways that you thought through go wrong. I've got number 76 in my back pocket.
That's right. Yeah, the ice machine might be number 76.
Yeah, dude. But what's so amazing and getting back, like thinking about the person just getting started, because I think there's more people just getting started that there's this big giant like wall of fear, and I do believe thinking through all the different ways that you can mitigate risk versus risk is too scary, therefore I'm not going to start. No. Let's think through all the different ways in my mind. Never having to spend money, never having to risk my retirement, never having to risk my family's lifestyle. I can think through it all. Did that give you comfort? Like, did it help you in that process?
I think so. And I think talking to people that want to get started, I'm sure you could reach out. Like if it's storage specifically, you can just reach out to any mom and pop storage facility and say, hey, I want to come see what you guys do, help you, clean up the facility or something. Just offer yourself for free to learn something. I doubt they're going to say no to that. Finding someone who's reliable and can help out is always hard to find. So what better way to learn it? And you might find that you have a connection there and they might connect you with somebody who's selling. You just never know. So the ways to get started, I guess I want to encourage people, don't limit yourself into, I don't have any money, I can't buy a facility. Well, maybe you can't. Maybe you can't just jump into ownership right away, but there's 100 ways to learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I don't know, in my experience, one of the big ones is just overcoming that fear. And like kind of what you're talking about is get in the industry, like just get started in some kind of way. And then maybe you like with my kids, I try to give them like some type of apprenticeship of a thing. That way they get experience in it. Like, man, how many citizens of the US that are in college debt would do better if they apprenticed at the thing they were getting their degree in and going, you know what? I don't really like this thing. Forget doing this for 4 years in school and paying $60,000. So it's the same thing that we can do as adults with assets. Let's go try the asset out, work with somebody. Hey, what would you do differently? Why did you get started? Is it worth it? And they go, no, never do cockroach farming. I thought this was gonna be a great idea. This is a terrible idea. Don't raise
That's
cockroaches.
right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah,
That,
no, that's the getting your feet wet, getting started piece of it. You've got to start somewhere. You've got to start by doing something, and I love the practical aspect of it. Is that the self storage industry and specifically is mostly mom and pop. It's still majority, whereas multifamily is the opposite.
yep.
So I think it's over 60% are still basically locally owned. So 60% locally owned. If you're in a area that's not in the city, in the big city, they're all kind of these corporations, but that's less than 40% of owners. So you can go and you can find a few owners and just, hey, I'd help out to learn a little bit more about this. And then of course there's people that've gotten in the storage industry by just being on a team of one of them, being a manager, being the person that sits at the desk, or getting hired by them, and you start understanding there's one person renting 400 units here, or something like that. One person maintaining the facility for 400 units, and you're like, there's huge leverage here, versus how many people are working at a Home Depot every day. There's just a very different business model to it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And so with self-storage, inside of self-storage, can you like property manage it from a distance?
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're setting ours up for complete remote management. And a lot of the facilities that are smaller, or I should say that are all like not climate controlled, are going that direction and really pushing that. So there's some great ways to do it. It mostly involves the software. So the software is controlling your contracts, your payments, and your access. For us, we tied that over to a lock system that bases it on code. So if someone goes to our website, signs up for a unit, signs their agreement, pays their deposit, or admin fee or monthly rent, whatever it's calculating for them, depending on we're putting a promotion together or not, they get access to their unit and they're ready to go. So,
And there's no involvement needed from you.
correct. Yeah. At this point, we do have a little bit of a manual step we'd like to confirm with everybody because we've had so many people reach out that never decided to move in. We've had several of those. So we are putting a confirmation in there before we give them their code to their unit. So we have a little bit of a manual step in there. But again, that's not happening all the time. So anybody that's newly just inquiring, they can already just sign up for a unit right away without anything else.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's true that self-storage can be a completely passive asset.
100%. Yeah. Now, I think a team in place helps it. We have a handyman that we can call for some minor repairs, things like that. I have someone that helps me answer the phones. So those pieces still have to be addressed.
Yeah.
But my goal with this is to find, and maybe my facility is too small for this, but find the next facility is a little bit bigger and able to be managed by another company. Now, maybe I'll manage it myself to start. But if I can outsource that management for between 5 and 10% of the gross revenue, that allows my time to be bought back. So that is where my goal is to completely passive would really be another management company. But overall, very passive, like a couple hours a month for a small facility once it's stabilized.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. And if you think about it, like if you have to pay a property management company 10 to 15% to manage your self-storage facility, but if I'm going to go in and I'm looking at these properties and let's say they're 20, 25, 30% under market value, well, when I come in, I revamp some things, I raise the rates, maintain occupancy or even increase occupancy depending on the situation, then paying that 5 or 10% for property management, that's watered down a duck's back because that's money that wasn't mine. I got it back to even, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's you already improved it. You already made those improvements. More or less, will pay for that.
Yeah.
Will pay for that management.
And I love the way that you framed it. It doesn't pay for the management. It pays for you to buy back your time.
Yes.
Which is huge.
Buying back your time, that's the biggest leverage.
That's huge, man. Oh my gosh, man. So what's the next move for you? Are you more self-storage?
Yeah, so I am always the distracted entrepreneur. I've been looking at lots of other things. and come full circle and like I just need to find and focus on buying another facility. So the goal is to get our current facility refinanced, and then allocate some of that money towards improving the property and some of that towards buying the next facility. So I am currently looking for facilities, definitely looking in North and South Carolina specifically, just to stay close. But I'd feel more comfortable with one that's, say, 4 hours away now than just two.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's usually how it starts. Like I gotta get my first one close. I want to drive by it. Doesn't matter the asset. I want to be able to look at it and touch it and feel it. And then it's like a little bit further, and then like, you know what? Where's it? It's in Alaska. Does it cash flow? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah,
That's,
there's for some reason I've seen a ton in Arkansas right now, and I'm like, I don't really want to go to Arkansas right now, but there's some cash flow there.
yeah, there really is. One of the members in our group was looking at a facility in Arkansas, and we didn't get to it in time. It's sold to someone else, but there's some good opportunity there in Arkansas, man.
Yeah, I've seen a number of facilities come up. So yeah, right now I'm back to looking. I would say not exactly um, focused on looking quite yet. We're definitely doing some more improvements to our existing property, doing the refinance, and then it's going to be full on. We got to deploy this money and get our next facility.
Wow. And how do you feel now? Like before, there was a lot of I don't know, worry, overwhelm, however you would describe it. But now you own a self-storage facility that's profitable, putting money in your pocket every single month from a very hands-off perspective. Now you're going into buying your second self-storage property. How do you feel now?
I feel much more confident that we can do it, and also that we can run the numbers, and then also, on the flip side, it's like maybe I don't want to buy one that needs that much work. Maybe I want to buy one that just needs a little push, and
Yep.
we can get the bank involved from the get-go and get financing on it, so that we can buy a few more units. Let's say we buy one that's 100 units, and then from the get-go it already has better cash flow, and then the improvements are less involved.
Yeah. What's really interesting is this was kind of my experience, and I don't know if you feel this way or you've seen it yet, but you've got a facility now that gives you about $2,200 a month in income, and you can see the potential of $5,000, $5,500 a month, and you go, wow, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I got this far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so
That's right.
you really can start to go, well, if I just do this 10 times or 9 more times, that's $55,000 a month. Have you kind of had those thoughts and going, holy cow, I could do something big?
No, there's totally that thought, and especially looking at the next facility, like that's why I'm thinking about property management. I can maybe maintain 2 or 3 facilities myself, but I probably can't do 10. So at that point, you're either building a property management company, which is building another business, or you're outsourcing that to somebody else. And I do think that that's the way to go. I am looking and talking to other individuals that are interested in self-storage as well, but just from a private standpoint, not trying to build a fund or anything like that.
Yeah.
Just saying, hey, if they put their money in this deal, how would they be partnered on it? How would that help me get a bigger facility and do more? I do think that that is part of my plan and process, but then I also feel more confident that I'm not going to lose that money.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's a big worry, big scare. You don't want to do that. So like, how can, if a lot of people may see this. How can people that see this get involved, help you? How can you help them? Like, do you want to eventually, maybe you're not there yet, do you want to eventually partner with outside investors? Are you looking for that now? Kind of walk us through maybe somebody that sees this, how could they get involved?
Yeah, I mean, if you like the idea of self-storage, I love people to just reach out. I've been talking with a lot of people just in private conversations about, if they want to, whether it's invest or look at their own deals or even help people evaluate deals right now, because I'm still practicing, okay, and looking at, okay, what does a deal look like over here? And what do I need to take notes if it's, let's say, in North and South Carolina versus the Midwest? What should I be looking at? How does the location change what I might want to look at? So just reach out. I'm kind of an open book right now. I'm not trying to sell anything. I'm trying to buy more storage. So, I kind of say if it made sense, I'd do business with anybody. And let's do something together.
I love it, man. And what's the best way for them to reach you?
So my Twitter is probably the best way for people to reach me. It's start your biz with some underscores, and I can put it up here, tag it or something like that. That's the best way right now. I'm keeping up with that, posting more storage stuff there, and some fails and some wins for the storage facility and my business there.
Dude, I love it. I love it, man. It's like just between me and you, like this is incredible. It's incredible to see how far, and this is like, I don't mean this like in a condescending way. I do mean this like how far you've come, but it like
Yeah,
in that vein, it's like, dude, this is as bad as you're gonna be. Like the sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like, dude, it's crazy. It's
totally,
crazy.
totally, yeah. No, I definitely want to get better. How about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
But
so
dude, if this
definitely
is
working.
yeah, if this is as bad as you get, and this facility's capacity for like maximum revenue is $5,500 a month, and this is you not knowing what the hell you're doing, kind of
Yeah,
fumbling your way, like,
yeah.
dude,
Walk in the
huge.
dark a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. And I think that's what gives you confidence, right? Is doing it, accomplishing it, getting something done. And I've seen that in my construction business as well. It's like we have to get confident in what we're doing to get to the next level. And yeah, if this is as bad as we're going to be, we got to get better.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, naturally you will because you just keep playing the game and you just revolve. Did it help you? Like, did being an entrepreneur and maybe even specifically in construction, did it help you, like, to buy assets?
Yeah, so I think it gave me some confidence as well, just knowing what I'm looking at. Okay, if something is going on with the building, I pretty much know what needs to be done to fix it. Are we doing a repair? Are we doing a replacement? Talking to contractors, talking to guys who are going to help. But something else that helped is talking to people in the industry. I had a guy come out that does more facility automation for, I would say, higher end facilities, and we're talking through this, and we're out at my property, which is pretty rural, and most of what he said didn't apply to me. But I also knew of where I could go with something that was a little more, let's say, upscale, high end area with Bluetooth locks and a phone app to get you in the gate and things like that. Whereas we're pretty rural. We're probably gonna stay fairly manual on the actual site itself, but there's automations that we can put in with the software.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, that's amazing, man. I think it's just the beginning. I mean, next thing you know, there's going to be one in South Carolina, in Georgia, in Mississippi, Alabama. You're going to get to Arkansas eventually, okay?
There we go. All right, we'll get to Arkansas and then
I love
Texas.
Yeah, then Texas, baby. Yeah, there's lots of room out here. Dude, is there anything else you want to add that you didn't get a chance to talk about?
I think just the room that it gives in your mind for options, like by doing and gaining the confidence. Okay, now my mind is clearer about something coming up in the future or a different opportunity, because I have to weigh, okay, if I'm going to spend time doing this and that keeps me from buying another storage facility that might make me 5 grand a month, what I'm weighing all opportunities against that. I'm weighing
Yep.
all opportunities against or distractions, I should say. So and that's a level of passive that most opportunities are not. If I buy a business, I'm essentially going to take my workload at my current business and add to it. It might even be double, and then I got to figure that out. Versus buying another storage facility, yeah, I might add to my workload just to find and get that storage facility, and then I'm going to see that recurring, those residual payments forever. And it is buying a business. It's not just real estate. There is a business aspect to it, and that's why I mentioned the outside management is
Yeah.
because that's the next level. Is like, okay, well, yeah, if you have a small storage facility and no one wants to manage it because it's too few units, well, then the goal is to improve that, fix it up, sell it, buy a bigger one, and then it
Yeah.
can be managed. And so the confidence, I guess, for me to be able to do that was by just starting with my first one. It probably looks very piddly to most people who are buying millions of square footage of storage. But for me, it was where I had to start.
Yeah, yeah, man. And you bring up an interesting point. As a business owner, can self storage replace like? As a business owner, can self storage buy back your time? Like, is it legitimately an asset that can buy you freedom?
Yes, 100%. And that's what I have to kind of gauge. Okay, I'm building this business. Do I just want to sell my business and buy more self storage facilities? How many self storage facilities can I buy with what I sell my business for? And will that bring me freedom?
Yep.
How much
Yep.
more
Hey,
will that buy me?
wow, dude, that's amazing. That's amazing. And like, if you think, I've never thought about it from this angle before, but if you think about like a passive asset, the what makes something not passive is humans, right? Employees make it not passive unless you have a manager of the business. But self storage doesn't have a human on site that often. Like in a 24-hour period, the
Right.
humans like they're either taking their junk out or they're putting their junk in. That's it.
Yeah.
Like that. So a human
Yeah.
on site is very, very minimal, which naturally makes the asset more passive because there's less humans interaction.
Right. There's less people on site. It's not a retail location. It is a place where people store their stuff. And I'd say the people that are on site the most are the ones that are using it for, let's say, a business purpose of storage. So they're coming there to get some materials or tools, and they're back out. And those are the people you want because they're also looking at, hey, why is there a trash can still left out that's not supposed to be there, or trash, or they're kind of checking on your site for you in some ways. No, but I was, on that note, like I get more notifications from my cameras now that are up about deer on the property than people. I get
That's-
notifications like 3 a.m., 2 a.m., and I look at the recording. It's a deer walking through, just having its time, and that's the facility. Like there's not a ton of traffic on it, and then we're gonna put up a fence at some point, and there'll be less. I don't even know if the deer will be in there when the fence is up.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully not. I lived in a house one time where deer would jump over the fence and get stuck in my backyard, and then I'd always have to like shoo them out and not get kicked in the face. So hopefully you don't have that
Yeah,
problem. They
yeah,
don't
yeah,
jump.
yeah. Yeah. No, well, I don't know. Maybe they can jump a 6 foot fence.
Man, those are those South Carolina deer, baby.
That's right. Ready to go.
Dude, that's amazing, man. This is awesome. This is good stuff, and I think if it ever does evolve into like something you want to do with a fund or something, and you want to do something more formal, like hey, go to thiswebsite.com and you can apply. Just let me know, and then like we'll redo this. We'll see how much traction this gets.
Yeah.
I think the Twitter plug's awesome. People go check you out there. That's great because that's where you're going viral on some of your
Yeah.
stuff.
I haven't lately, but when I sent you that one, it was going crazy.
Dude, how does it feel? How does it feel to go viral?
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah. So I had some help. I won't lie, but I got a part of a group, where we all comment on each other's stuff, and it's a great bunch of guys, and they're all trying to do different things. So I have one guy like sharing, about fitness stuff, another guy about family stuff, another one's building his online coaching business, and just really kind of that circle of, and then it keeps you accountable. You gotta comment and post on everybody else's stuff before you can post yours. So
Uh-huh.
there was a couple days where I didn't, and so then my post, just organically is like 200. People saw it, and then the one that really launched out there, I think that was like 60,000 people or something like that on it. Saw
That's
it.
a dude, and that's a big number on Twitter.
Yeah, yeah, no
That's
doubt,
That's awesome, man.
no
That
doubt.
is awesome. Well, very cool, man. You got anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. I just excited about the potentials, and uh, yeah, I'm just trying to find the time to work on finding a new facility because of where my business is going. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Is it going
that's
good? Is it growing?
yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. We did about 1.5 in the last 12 months.
Heck yeah, dude.
1.5 million. So last year total we did just under a million.
So that's a
So
50% increase.
oh yeah, yeah, it'll be about a 50% increase this year. Yeah.
Holy cow, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I have a full-time sales guy now, and So I'm excited where that's going, but I really do have to look at, okay, if I sell this business, let's say it's doing 1.5 this year total, and I can sell that. I don't know exactly where profitability is going to be. Let's say it's 10% for construction business. That's okay. It's not great. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
10% net profit. It might be a little more by the time we finish out the year. And what can I sell that for? Maybe a couple times profit. That could buy a couple storage facilities. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So like, legitimately, I have to think that way.
Can you sell your construction company to a bigger construction company, or would they not be
Yeah, I
interested?
mean that would be the thought, or somebody who wants to, let's say they're a general contractor, they've got their license, but they want this amount of business, they might look at it too. But I could see a bigger debt company wanting to buy us. Why not?
Got it. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
It is interesting trying to sell a construction business, but the more you have set up, the more pieces in place, the less I'm involved, the more it's worth.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
And
I was definitely talking to a guy. He was like, you don't want to sell it now. Basically, was his advice, and I was like, well, maybe I do. Like, that's, I know. Like, I met a guy who built his, I think, to about 12 million, and he was doing. It was funny because he's doing a lot of what we do plus pools. So he's doing about 12 million a year. I don't know exactly how much he sold it for, but anyways, he's kind of been a little bit of a mentor on that side, and it's like I don't know that I want to do what it takes to get it to 12.
yeah, 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 because it's not
Like,
going to be easy.
no, my kids are young now, so
Yeah, yeah. And if you're gonna prep to sell, like let's say you make the decision, okay, I'm gonna sell this thing. Do you start trying to price jobs in a way where you can show more profit on your P&L? Is that part of the game?
yeah. But that's part of now, anyways.
Yeah,
That's part
true.
of, like, I'm not trying to push. We've done plenty of jobs that were break even or minus. It just happens in construction. So the goal is always profitability, and
Yep.
so no, we're digging in with our coaches to look at finances, look at sales, look at marketing, look at operations to develop systems around them, and all that just helps towards a sale. Like, they're going to look at that and say, "Oh, that's great. You have some things set up." And somebody's
Yep.
probably going to look at it and say, "Well, you need a lot more things set up," and then that's the person that might buy it. But again, it's like, because I have the storage facility, it's not like I have to make $1 million on the business at the sale. Because
Right.
honestly, I could sell or finance the business to somebody, and that'd be super attractive. And then
Yeah.
I just have some income coming in. Let's say it was over 2 or 3 years, or get a chunk up front plus the seller financing. So then
Yep.
that chunk goes and buys me a self storage facility. Plus, I have some income.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Dude, and
yeah.
did it help you, um, like reviewing these, like we're looking at self storage, reviewing these P&Ls or lack thereof, and seeing how poorly run most businesses and assets are? Did that help you going, okay, I need to get my stuff together so if I do want to sell, it looks really good?
I think I was already heading that way a bit. I was trying to be better because I knew some other, guys that were running business, and a guy who was older who actually went out of business tried to sell me his business, but there was nothing there, and I was like,
Yeah.
I cannot be at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was sad because he didn't really have any employees, he didn't really have any systems, he had some contracts. So essentially, all he did was sell those contracts to somebody else, and it was strange because like he sold them to another guy without even offering them to me for a price. I just said, "What do you want for them?" But anyways, that it's still a good relationship. Honestly,
Yeah.
he's referring us more guys than the guy who bought his contracts. He's still referring us people because we did work for him like 2 years ago as a
Wow.
subcontractor to him. And now, like, I think he did. I think that year he did like 300 grand in revenue. And so I'm like, yeah, we're at a different place. Like, we'd never subcontract. He's out of business now, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
he still refers people to us because we're taking care of him better than the other guy.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. Well, dude, holy
Construction
shit.
industry is interesting.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to you for doing it. That's I was around construction growing up as a kid, and I was like,
Yeah.
man, that's a tough living, tough living.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, I mean, we got a 1-star review last week. It hurt. So, and that's after like my guy's going above and beyond. There was just some miscommunication on the front end and the middle, and I was out there and I just said, hey, that review stays on our site forever. She was like, it was just the strangest, It's like, I mean, that can help on the storage side too. And I know that I can't be too worried about it because I don't even know. We have so many good reviews that I don't even know if it brought our 4.8 stars down. I don't think it did.
Yeah.
So the goal is to go out and get more good reviews. But overall, like, we know the way that the average construction company operates. They don't get back to you. You don't hear from them. The communication's terrible. And so we've just leveled up our game on that so much that last week we had 3 people tell us to stop calling them because we were calling them too much. And I was like, well, most people won't call you back. So which do you want?
Yeah. Dude, and that's what's interesting is like the principles of business and being successful in business don't change no matter the business. Like I'm getting new CPA and tax clients really a lot of times just on, I can't get a hold of my CPA. Like I email them, I've got a question, they never reply back. Or when they do reply back, it's 3 weeks later, my situation's changed. So I'm like, wow, we just need to set aside time for operations and like a clear communication plan. Like nothing sits in our inbox for more than 24 hours. Or, like it's really not that hard to not suck in business.
Right.
Gee.
You gotta have some good people willing to do that too.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I don't know if we,
No, go ahead. What are you going to say?
I was just going to tell you what else. So, I don't know if I had told you this before, but my brother's was my business partner on the construction business.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just signed it for me to buy him out.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah, so I'll have 100% ownership there. But that wasn't exactly, let's just say he's staying on as an employee. I just don't think he had any motivation to be an owner. And
Got it.
kind of showing. So.
Well, I'm glad y'all figured it out. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, it's like it means that I will have 100% ownership. I mean, I have 100% ownership now. I have a plan to pay him over like 40, over 2 years to pay him off over 2 years. So I took my buyout amount and stretched that over 2 years. But that means that I'll have 100% ownership as of now.
That's amazing, dude. Oh my gosh, dude! I think
so. Looking to sell will be easier as well, I think. And I don't. Again, we've talked about this a bunch of times, and I'm always back and forth on it because it does provide for me and my family in a real way, but also it's also like a struggle to go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know what it's going to look like for you, but for me, once I knew I could replace my income from my full-time job, for you, can I replace my income from my full-time business? I would just keep doing what you're doing with the eye on, I've got to buy back my time. That's the number one goal. And so every decision that you make goes through that lens. Like my lens was every decision I make, it's to spend more time with my family. So I say no to everything that's going to cost more. I say yes to everything that's going to save me time. And which maybe that's spending decisions. That's money that I could use to go to self-storage. You're on the hunt because if you did the same facility again, would that buy you back your time? A little bit bigger.
Facility. If I bought the same facility again after 6 months of working on it, it would.
Yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
But
here's the thing. Here's the thing with the storage facility is I've been down there with the whole family. I've been down there with my oldest daughter and with my second daughter, just me and her go, and we work on stuff and we get stuff done and we meet with people and things happen at it, and I'm just working with the family.
Yes. Yeah.
See, I told you I need 4 facilities, right? I need Afton, Adia, Elias, and Lucia.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can't stop until you get there.
That's right. Well, I might need 6. I might need 1 for me still and my wife. So
each facility pays for that person's expenses.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. That's getting to be very true.
Dude, that's a great like Christmas video. Like everybody opens their stocking and they get a self-storage facility. Like Merry Christmas.
Get somebody to make like little mini 3D printed ones of it.
Yes, yeah. Dad, what is this? Oh, that's Fountain Inn, South Carolina. Here's your keys.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Dude, that's amazing, man. Yeah, so the goal is always replacing the income. So like, just keep your eye on that. And if it's,
Yeah.
I mean, you got the right mindset. If you sell the business and
Yeah.
the money pays for that, then cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. I think the thing that keeps pulling me back in is like, knowing that part of what I'm doing in business is something I'm supposed to be doing. And that is also kind of, I guess, the people that I'm mentoring are my employees in that business right now. And maybe that just changes in the future, but right now that is kind of, I don't know, I hate to say it kind of as a calling, but I also don't want to use that as a crutch to just hold on to it too long. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some piece of that, like I definitely want to be helping people and involved in people's lives, but then I also realize that, it's not just that business. There's other ways to do that too.
Yeah. I think if it's a calling, you don't question it. I'm not saying
Yeah.
that's not your calling. I'm just saying when you're in your calling, you're like this is it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, I've questioned this the whole time. What are you talking about? I mean, like 3 times this week already. What do you?
Okay, fair
It's
enough.
like it's 100% in to 100% out.
Uh,
And I would arguably say like the past couple of weeks have been, some of the strongest weeks we've had in business, which is awesome. But it's also like it comes with it's bigger projects that come with more responsibility and more things to go wrong and more organization and more of my time and all this kind of stuff. It's like it's hard to see that business becoming automated in almost any way.
Yeah, yeah. Profit has to go, revenue has to go up high enough, or even if the profit percentage stays the same, you can hire somebody to step away. So it's like you're gonna have to. It's like a Chinese finger trap. The deeper you go, the harder it is to get out. In
Yeah.
that you're gonna have to grow it big enough to hire somebody to replace you, or sell it at some point. So maybe it's always kind of keeping your ear to the ground if somebody's to sell at whatever point.
Yeah. Well, and that is actually a good note from the guy who built his business to 12 million or whatever it was and sold it. And then I say 12 million revenue.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he wasn't ever stepped away. I mean, he wasn't able to step away until he sold it. And he was like, even after I sold it, I had a contract to be there. Like I was going to be an employee for so long to help the transition. And I only lasted a month because he and the new owner butted heads. And so he had to step back. And it was fine for him because he was like, I don't need to work.
Yep.
I'm paid otherwise because I just sold my business. And so then he kind of launched into this real estate investing spree where I think he bought 20 some houses to flip it once or something ridiculous. And but yeah,
Wow.
yeah, no doubt.
Don't do that.
So yeah, don't do that. But what I kind of learned from that is, hey, he was at 12 million and he wasn't able to step away. Now I don't know if that was his personality, the business, or what. And then on the flip side, I'm like, if I sold my business and bought even just a smaller junk removal business that had a couple drivers and an office manager, it's pretty self-explanatory. Or just dumpster rental, like not even junk removal, not even the service part of it, just delivering dumpsters and picking them up. Found one for sale already in Charlotte. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's basically the coordination of pickup and drop off. It's funny. It's funny because there's businesses like that out there, and somebody wants to get rid of it, probably because they didn't figure out how to automate it.
Yeah.
But as this dumpster rental business, I think they said they have 2 trucks and like 50 or 100 dumpsters. So they're going.
Yeah, yeah.
They have good revenue. That's like 2 employees. And then, say you get somebody in the office to make sure scheduling and payments and coordination happens and communication. That could be an automated business with just a few
Dude.
less people involved.
That can be, and the revenue can be really good on that. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's the thing that that you already know is you can't scale your construction business big enough where you're going to get your time back. So it's like as you're growing it, how can I exit it? And as you're growing it, it's keeping your eye on those other businesses that you can buy or those other self-storage facilities. And if you're only one away, man, you're only one more of the same one you bought with 6 months of work. So you know what that looks like in your mind. You're only one away. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're one asset to buying back your time, then you can make the decision. So that's
Yeah. Well, here's the crazy thing: is I have a friend in Charlotte who said he'd be willing to put 100 grand into a storage facility. I have a guy I met with who does. He actually builds spec homes in Charlotte. So he only builds them and then he sells them, but he builds them as you can pretty much on any lot build a duplex. No
okay.
townhouses, just two townhouses. So he can sell them individually. He has two transactions, and more or less, he's made a good amount doing that because he has two sales for each piece of property he buys.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He said he has 100 grand he wants to put in self storage. I met another guy who, through one of the storage groups, who was like, "Yeah, I want to do it in North and South Carolina. I'm looking at $50,000 to put in self storage," and I'm like, "That's a lot of money. I don't know. Like
Dude.
that would be a potential of buying a facility with their money as the down payment and none of mine, just me as
Yes.
the operator."
Yes. Dude, and you could, so at a 90% leverage, that buys $2.5 million facility. So
Yeah, I don't know if you want to do 90% in this market.
no, but I'm saying, like, just to get an idea, so at, 50% leverage, that buys you $500,000. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a good chunk, man.
yeah. Yeah. So if let's say that's 300, if at 300,000, what I'm thinking is probably for storage right now, it's probably 70-30 or 60-40 is where most deals are going to fall. Because SBA takes so long, most sellers don't want to deal with it.
Yep.
And I know you can do 10% down with SBA on self storage. I know that for a fact. But is the seller going to be willing to wait for it? So I think I'm looking for either, one that can take the loan or seller financing so that we can, somewhere between, I guess, 50 and 70% on the deposit amount.
Yeah.
'Cause I could put some of my money into it too, like especially if we refinance the other one, I'd have a chunk of change to put into a new one.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I think you run all those scenarios out, run them out in your mind, run
yeah,
them out on paper, and see what you like. And then you're the kind of, I would always try to maintain control. You're going to take money, but you're going to be the decision maker. Like, hey, I'm the boss. I'm running the show, and then
yes,
only do deals you want to do.
right, and that's exactly what I tell everybody. It's like you're silent partner, like your money's going into it, but I'm going to run it and I'm going to manage it. And if I choose to get outside management, then it's my choice. It's like
Yeah.
that kind of thing. And especially going into like, I really do want to buy one that's 100 units to 200 units. And I know
Yeah.
it's a sweet spot. This is crazy. I was going to quote a porch for a guy in my town, Waxhaw, not Charlotte, Waxhaw, North Carolina. He owns a storage management company. Yeah, yeah. He's managed storage facilities himself. So I'm like, that's my guy.
Dude, those are, I think that's the secret sauce because
Yeah.
they're going to know about the transactions, the sales coming before anybody else, right? Like, wouldn't that be an inside track to buying deals?
Potentially, but I'm just saying, as a person defined for managing a facility,
For sure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I think he said the smallest he managed has 80 units. So I was like, okay, well, if it's over 80 units, you consider it. He's like, yeah. I was like, perfect. I'm shooting for 100 to 200 in your sweet spot.
I wonder, yeah. Dude, what amazing. Did you get the porch job? Did he say yes or no?
He won't call me back on the porch job, but it's
Dude,
funny.
what?
Yeah, it's funny. It's I didn't expect us to get the porch job on that one, and we still might be in the running. It might be some of the porch jobs are a long term. Like this was a
Yeah.
$75,000 porch, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he wanted all the bells and whistles, and then he told me how much somebody else quoted, and it was like half of what I quoted, and I was like, well, good luck with that guy.
Dude, that's crazy, man. I saw, yeah, construction, you get what you pay for. Well, you can also get screwed, but anyway. Oh my gosh. Well, dude, let's give me a little bit. I'm gonna get this cut up, and I'll put this
Okay.
like a Google Drive or something, so you can share them
Yeah.
and start dropping them, man.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. So I found a guy to edit some TikToks for me. I'm gonna try him out. I think.
Yeah. How did you find them? Like on Fiverr?
No, Twitter. I just asked for it. I just said, who recommends somebody for TikToks? And a guy responded that I've already kind of created a relationship with, right? Twitter's much better about like meeting people in the DMs and all that, and
Yeah.
talking to
Yeah.
them. This guy lives in South Carolina and has 9 kids, and was homeless at one point, and now makes his money off the internet.
Whoa.
Yeah, his story's nuts.
That's amazing.
Um, yeah, so I was talking with him, like he's clearly the man, and he focuses on copywriting
Okay.
primarily, and building people's like funnels to
Yep.
bring in new clients for online businesses primarily. So he's the guy to like optimize how you get clients and landing pages
God.
and copywriting and all that. So I really like his stuff. It wouldn't do anything for Rosewood because I don't think he'd touch it, you know. Um, but we're getting some help on that side for Rosewood as well. And then he was like, "Oh, I don't use this guy, but I have used him, and I'll use him again, except I have somebody else." Anyways,
Yeah, yeah.
he had a good recommendation for somebody on TikTok to edit videos, and so I'm going to send him a few today and see
Like
what
as a
they do.
trial.
Yeah, I think, and I need both. I want to try to do some with the construction company and with the storage. So
Dude,
it's not
that's
just
awesome.
one. It's like, hey, if you do good on one, I want you to do the others. And I need his creative help too because I don't know what to. I'm not like trying to say I want a specific thing because I don't know what's going to work.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And that's what I would recommend doing is because I've hired a ton of editors, good and bad. So I'll always give them a trial, give them a couple of videos, say, hey, send them back to me, and then
Yep.
and if that guy doesn't work out, let me know, and I can always connect you to other people too. But it sounds like he's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of depends on what he charges as well because I don't know if I need a jump for a high end person right now. I don't have a ton of revenue to put towards it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, how much do you think I should expect to like for some? And obviously, I want to use it on like reels and shorts and TikTok. But how
yeah.
much should I pay for a video?
If you're man, you got to be careful because some of these people will charge you like $50 to $100 a video, which is stupid. That's why I would always what I would do is I trial people, say, and send them all the same content. Hey, here's some
Yeah,
content. Here's what I want it to look like. Send it back to me. What are you going to charge me for this trial? It's a paid test. What are you going to charge me for the paid test? Um, Depending how many videos you want to do per month. Like how many videos are you thinking about posting per week or per month?
see, for Rosewood, I could post every day if I wanted to, but I don't know if I have enough content. For the storage facility, I just need a few, like a batch, and then I'll release them at different times.
Okay.
Is what I'm thinking because I don't have that much for the storage facility. I just need to, maybe get 10 of them together and release them at different times and see how they do.
Got it. Got it. I know one guy. So one guy charges between 5 and 10 grand a month. But what he does is he flies to your location. You film 100 videos in a day or more, and then his team of editors get it, and then they post it for you once or twice a day, and they fly out like every quarter and do that. So that's like, but that's for people that are like, that's high end. The
I'll get there. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
For Rosewood, I would say like if you're trying to do it, it's going to
I'm trying to
depend.
spend, let's just say I want to spend a couple $100 and get some content.
Yeah, okay, then you could probably do like 10 videos a month and like get decent quality. If anybody's
Yeah.
trying to do less than that and still take $200, some people try to charge you $200 a video.
Yeah.
So just
Yeah.
be careful.
Yeah.
Be careful on that. But let me know. Let me know how it goes because I've got a lot
Yeah.
of experience in that and I'll help you out.
Cool. Yeah. And I don't know what I want it to look like. That's the part of the problem on the storage side or the Rosewood. It's like, I don't know what I want it to look like. I know
Dude,
what I want this video to look like. I don't want this video. I want it to be very informative, kind of up close, some clips that have some juice.
yeah.
And I know it because I listen to a lot of content like this.
Yes. Yeah. I'll send you a couple of examples what I think you might do for construction.
Yeah.
I'll send you a couple of examples that I've seen on TikTok. I'll try to find them again.
Yeah.
And then you can just kind of get ideas and then build your own thing
Yeah.
and go from there. But dude, I gotta dip for my next meeting.
Yeah.
But
Thanks.
we need to do this again. This was really informative, and I think there's going to be a lot of great value. So I'll get these edited up and I'll put them in a Google Drive for you.
You think you're going to add some of this to the group?
I do it 100%. I mean, are you okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're doing this for me. I want to give back to the community. That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. I will. I'll put like the big file, like the big long video. I'll post it, and then maybe even some of the shorter ones that are like the nuggets, like the straight.
Yeah.
Like I think some of the good nuggets are I bought it for 255, increase the value in 6 months, take the equity out, do it again, or somebody that's like, hey, I got 60 grand I can put into it. Like there's so much value in those things from
Yeah.
strategy how they can get started.
Yeah.
But dude, this is awesome, man.
Yeah. It's great.
So, okay, man, and then you have to teach me your Twitter ways, man. How do I get good on Twitter?
Oh yeah. Well, you don't take everything you know from TikTok and throw it out. But
Oh,
no,
okay, got
you,
it.
you could just you could man, you could just post over there. I would say that is brain dump. That's what Twitter's for.
Got it. That makes sense. That makes
Most
sense.
people use. Well, if you got to get to another, we can talk about that later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's talk later, man. I'll give you a shout, man. But give me a little bit, and I'll get this edited up, and I'll get it over to you, and I'll also get it in the group. Awesome, Kyle. Dude, take care, man. Good talking to you, brother.
Thanks. See ya.
Dude, see you, man. This is so good.